Coming up,
successful people are committed to lifelong learning. Lifelong learning. There is not a day that goes by that I don't read something, listen to something, hear something that makes me better. You got to be willing to give up everything for success. Hey, thank you. I'm a 1980 graduate of UTA School of Business. I think I was in the first group of students to set in this building when it was opened in 1980. I remember when a lot of this area around here were fields and dirt where I used to park my car. Let me tell you a little about myself. I'm a Fort Worth native. Like I said, I attended UTA on a basketball scholarship. Always tell people and tell students especially, you have to learn to pivot, because the first day of practice, my freshman year, I realized I wasn't going to the pros, okay? So I had to pivot, and all I wanted to do at that time was just make the traveling squad. So you can get to your destination, but you can get there in a different lane. In December of 1998, let me go back a little farther. After college, I was hired with IBM. IBM was the Google, eBay, Microsoft of its day. I was working in a financial marketing group that marketed $1 million transactions. I was the youngest person in the company to hold that job. In December of 1998, I took over my family's small mom and pop janitorial company, okay? When I took it over, there were 8 employees, and 4 of them were us. Okay, today we have about 150 plus employees. May 2013, we were recognized by Harvard Business School as the 10th fastest growing company in America out of 2,100 companies. We won various awards. In the last 120 days, our gross revenues have increased 75%. So we probably have about $17 million worth of contracts in place. And I always attribute that to UTA. I do, okay? Because when I was in corporate America, I competed with graduates from SMU, Texas, Michigan, Florida, Syracuse, Arkansas, just to name a few of the guys in my marketing group. And I not only competed against them, I did better than they did. So always know you have a superior education. I'm gonna read you something from a book. I love books. The tragedy in life does not lie in not reaching your goal. The tragedy lies in not having no goal to reach. It isn't a calamity to die with dreams unfulfilled, but it is a calamity not to have a dream. It is not a disaster to be unable to capture your ideal, but it is a disaster to have no ideal to capture. It is not a disgrace not to reach for the stars, but it is a disgrace to have no stars to reach for. I want everybody to do something for me. I need everybody to close their eyes, okay? I need you to close your eyes and look at the life you have and go out in the future into the life you want to have, okay? Now come back to the present, okay? All of us are not destined to have this life we were born in. I grew up sharing a bed with my 2 brothers. When I got married, my first marriage, my wedding night, I got to the other end of the bed because I thought people were supposed to sleep with their feet in their face. I didn't know, okay? That's a true fact, okay? There's 2 types of people in the world, okay? Not rich, poor, black, white, educated, uneducated, Republican, Democrat. There's 2 types, dreamers and non-dreamers. You will always get in trouble for wanting too little, but you'll never get in trouble for wanting too much. It's always been said about imagination that if a man can imagine it, he can achieve it. He can invent it. It can come to pass. I started thinking about this a couple of weeks ago. Just think about this. Turn of the century, 1900s. There's 2 brothers in a field in North Carolina. And they say, we're going to get this wood, we're going to get this tin, and we're going to fly in the air. Just think about it. Just really think about it. When we get on a plane, we really don't think about what's going on. But just take a second. I'm going to get this, and I'm going to slap it together, and I'm going to go in the air. Is that crazy? Is that insane? Just really take a think. Just think. It's insane. But imagination. That's the greatest tool a man has is imagination. Another one. I'm going to walk to this. I'm going to hit this little thing I call a button, and the room's going to light up. Think about it. It's amazing. But you know how many times it took Thomas Edison to do that? 10,000 tries. 10,000 tries. But he looked at it differently than most people. He didn't see 10,000 things that failed. He just saw it as 10,000 things that didn't, 999, whatever it is, didn't work. He didn't look at it as most people. I'm going to go back to somebody that we're very familiar with. William Bill Gates, dropped out of Harvard. So he goes to Arizona desert, and him and several friends are working on this software program that's going to capture all this information and make computers talk to each other. Because when I was at IBM, computers didn't really talk to each other. Everybody had his own operating system. So William Bill Gates is in the desert. He's working on this Microsoft thing. He's working on it. He's failing. He's working on it. He's failing. He's working on it. And then one day he said, I got it. Bill Gates picks up the phone. He calls the president of Encyclopedia Britannica and explains about how he's going to capture all this information and how computers are going to talk across landlines and across the world. You know what the president of Encyclopedia Britannica does? He hangs up in Bill Gates' face. It doesn't make sense. This man's imagining things. So what does Bill Gates do? He picks up the phone and calls the president of who? What's on every Microsoft operating system? Encarta. Today, Encyclopedia is out of business, and Encarta's on all operating systems. Confucius says, the man that says he can't and the man who says he can are both usually right. It all goes about your thinking and how you think. My daughter's studying at the University of Manchester School of Economics. I'm able to offer my family things we never dreamed of. And this is a kid that didn't make the straight A's. I was a kid in the neighborhood. When they saw me walking down the block, the kids start running. Their parents start bringing them in the house. That was me. You got to be fearless. I don't see what other people see. I don't hear what they see. The economy inflation has nothing to do with me. Bad economy has nothing to do with me. Can't get the tax loan. Bad taxes has nothing to do with me. Can't get the bank loan has nothing to do with me. I'm doing this. All the peripheral stuff, that applies to the non-believers, but it doesn't apply to the believers. I can tell you this for a fact. Again, our business has increased 70+% in the last 120 days. In the last 4 months, I've been turned down to 5 bank loans. Me personally, I've been turned down to 5 bank loans. But what is it in me that makes me keep on going? What is it in me that makes me saying, oh, I never looked at it as a failure when they turned me down for the bank loan. You know what I did? I wanted to know the reason why. Because turning me down made me better. I looked at it opposite than most people. There's various forms of wealth. We always think about money. Money is not even the number 1 form of wealth. It's not even number 2. It's not even number 3. It's about number 4. You know what the number 1 form of wealth is? The number 1 form of wealth is an ideal. Give me an idea any day. The number 2 form of wealth is a relationship. Okay? Just think. Do you know what? Every Ford car ever rolled off the assembly line, you know what kind of tire it had? It had a Firestone tire. You know why? Henry Ford and Harvey Firestone were best friends. Best friends. Relationships. I'll tell you a little story. This is to kind of determine how you really want to drive for your dreams and want to be successful. There was a young man who wanted to be successful, so he came to the business guru. And he came to the business guru and said, I want to be successful like you. So the business guru says, if you want to be successful like me, I'll meet you at the beach tomorrow at 4 a.m. The young man said, I'll see you there. Next morning, 4 a.m., the young man shows up at the beach, meeting the business guru, has on a suit, should have had on shorts. So the business guru says, you really want to be successful? The young man says yes. So he takes him out to the water. He gets about waist high. Young man's thinking, this man's crazy. I came out here to learn about business. I didn't come out to learn how to swim. So business guru says, do you still want to be successful? So now they go out a little farther. Now the water's about shoulder high. Now, just think about it. This kid can't swim. He says, do you still want to be successful? Kid says yes. So the business guru takes him out a little farther. Now he's nose high with the water. The kids turn around to go back to the land. The old man grabs him, sticks his head on the water. He's flailing, he's trying to get up. And right before he loses consciousness, the old man lets him up. And the old man says, while you were underwater, what did you want most? And the kid said, I wanted to breathe. And the old man told him, you will only become successful when you want to breathe, want to be successful as bad as you want to breathe. That's the only time you become successful. What are you willing to give up for success? You know what you have to be willing to give up? Can anybody answer me what you have to be willing to give up to be successful? Can you answer that? Sleep. Everything. You got to be willing to give up everything. You got to be willing to give up partying. You got to be willing to give up sleep. You got to get willing to give up your favorite show, Monday Night Football. When I decided I was going to make this business work, I tell students, I didn't lose one BMW, I lost two. I lost my house. I lost my marriage. I lost everything. But I was bound and determined to make this work. What I tell people is, I was going to make it work or die trying. My mother's in the audience. I was willing to step on my mother's hand, but I was going to fix it later. Also, in becoming successful, you gotta find out what's your why. Me, I get up about 3:30 or 4 o'clock every morning. Every morning. I'm studying, I'm reading, I'm listening to tape. I listened to 20 tapes before I came over here this morning. Took my dog for a walk, practiced my lecture to you guys, because I'm always trying to be better. All I need is that one word, that one sentence, that one article, that one book that's going to make me better, to take my company to $100 million, to take my company to $250 million. I only need one. I don't need 10, I need one. You got to know your why. You got to figure out what your why is. You know what my why is? On my father's deathbed, I promised him that I would take care of every financial need my mother ever had the rest of her life. That's my why. I have an 8-year-old granddaughter that's an amazing singer and dancer. She's had her second call back for a Disney show. Okay, I told her mother, get the best coaches, the best dancing instructors, the best voice coaches. Okay, that's my why. You know what another one of my whys is? This university is one of my whys. Because I'm going to tell you what. I was an athlete. When it came down to time for college selection, I had one scholarship left. And it was UTA. Okay, and at 56 years old, I dread to think what I would have done without that scholarship. So I'm going to tell you what this why has made me do. Across the street at College Park, the assistant coach's office is named after my father. Okay, a few months ago, we put in place an endowment for students, first-time college students to attend UTA in my name, in my family's name. Most recently, the baseball dugout is a Larry D. Kemp dugout because I'm giving back to this school that gave me so much. Psychologists, sociologists say that at 10,000 hours, you're an expert. Chemist, race car driver, basketball player. I like to play golf. I might play 2 times a year, okay? But that's all I want to play. I don't like to practice, okay? So I can't be Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods has 10,000 hours of practice. I might have 10 hours of practice. You know what I tell people? Zig when others zag, okay? Zig when others zag. Don't be part of the group, okay? I have a plain, simple janitorial company. How did I get recognized by Harvard? How How was I interviewed by CNN Money Magazine? How was I in Fortune? How? How did I grow this company from 8 people to 150? How do I have $17 million worth of contracts in place? How? I separated myself from the pack. I do everything one way. I do everything in excellence. Who wants average? Who wants an average boyfriend? Who wants an average car? Nobody wants average. We want excellence. But please know this. I'm not that smart. I don't have any special skill. I can't do anything too much better than anybody else. Okay? So greatness, success is not this great esoteric thing in the sky that only a few of among us can get. It's within all of us. God gave greatness to each and every one of us. But this is the question. Are you willing to work 120 hours? Are you willing to go when everything in you is telling you to stop? When there are all kind of hurdles and boulders in the way, are you going to say, oh, let me give up? Because you know what? What I see as a pebble in the road, the other man sees as a boulder. You know what the first level of success? The first level of success is seeing it. You know what? You actually have success before you ever get it. Because you start changing. You start being successful. You start dressing successful. You start talking successful. You start eating successful. You start hanging around successful people. Okay? So the first level of success is seeing it way before you ever have it. You have to see it. You have to smell it. You have to touch it. But you see it far before you ever become successful. Being successful is a mindset. It's a mindset. There's people, you know, when you get in competition with them, you know you can't beat them. I'm a sports fan. I hated Larry Bird. Hated him. Because I knew he was going to figure out a way to beat you every time. Let's go back to another sports. Okay, Dirk Nowitzki. I like him. Michael Jordan. I love him. Dirk Nowitzki is going to score 40 points. His man's going to score 39. Okay? Michael Jordan's going to score 40 points. His man's going to score 10. Greatness. One thing that success has, success has a mistress. Okay? Success has a boyfriend. You know what that mistress and that boyfriend is? It's pain. Okay? It's rejection. It's failure. It's mistakes. But what most people do, what stops most people from being successful is fear. We're afraid of failure, and at the same time, we're afraid of success because we might not be able to handle it. And I tell you what, it's hard to handle sometimes. Okay? Hard to handle. But I tell everybody, embrace mistakes. Embrace failure. And embrace your pain. Because you know what? At the end of pain is success. But if you quit, there's nothing. I had a relative come to me one time. He was very emotional. And he was basically he was all teared up. And he said, I can't go on. I need to stop. This is too much. And I told him, don't cry to quit. You're already in pain. Cry to keep going. Cry on the other end when you get victory. You know how to beat your competition? You know how to beat your competition? You beat 80% of your competition by just showing up. Just showing up. You beat 80% of your competition. You beat 85% of your competition by just showing up on time. Okay? Okay. You beat 90% of your competition by showing up on time, and showing up with a plan. Okay? And if you really want to win, you beat 99% of your competition if you show up on time, show up, have a plan, and the ability to execute that plan. You beat 99% of your competition. Proven fact. You know this? Psychologists, sociologists say we only achieve 10% of our given potential. Look at all the famous people. And you're looking at them and saying, 10% of your family, I got $17 million worth of contract. I have 152 employees, and I'm at 17. I'm only at 10% of my potential. What if I was at 40? What if I was 50 or 60? Those with 3.9s. I know most of you got 3.9s and 3.8s. Suppose you study 10 more hours a day. Not a week, a day. Okay? What kind of grade point average would you have? How much closer would you be to your goals? I challenge you to invest in yourself. Okay? The first thing I'm going to challenge you to do, quit dropping classes. Quit dropping classes. I took analytical geometry 3 times. I got 3 Ds. I got 3 Ds. I was determined not to have a D on my transcript. Okay? But I kept taking it over. D. Again. D. Quit dropping classes. It won't matter 30 years later anyway. Okay. Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. And watch who you're around. Proven fact. You're the sum total of the 5 people you hang around the most. Who do you hang around? Okay? When you get home, when you get back to the dorm room, driving home, look at the people you hang around. I have a 2-seater car. I really wanted a 1-seater car. Okay? So I can spend time alone. Okay? So I can spend time alone. Okay? Do you know this? This is proven fact. The bigger the house, the more volumes of books. Proven fact. The smaller the house, the bigger the TV. So what are people doing? And another thing, famous people, rich people, people of achievement, they value their time. They use their time differently than we use ours. Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, Warren Buffett, these people wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And another thing they do, successful people are committed to lifelong learning. Lifelong learning. There is not a day that goes by that I don't read something, listen to something, hear something that makes me better. I'll tell you what. I was on a business assignment yesterday, and I think I'm pretty versed in government programs and contracting. I heard of something I had never heard of before. And I said, wow, this is what life is about, learning. And every time I send my grandkids a box, they run, grab it, open it up, and say, oh my God, books again. But you have to be driven. I've talked to you about one of your contemporaries, the rapper, businessman, 50 Cent. First movie ever made, he's on the set, taking his acting lessons on the set, and at nights, he stays up writing a score. So one day goes by, a couple of days go by, and his assistants come to him, and the movie producers come to him and say, 50, when do you sleep? He said, sleep is for those who are broke. I might miss the opportunity to take my dream to reality. I don't sleep. Beyonce, she's on the set. 3 days pass. She's doing her thing. 3 days pass. She forgets to eat. She forgets to eat. Engaged in the process. How do you forget to eat? Easy. And we wonder why these people are multi-millionaires. Know this. You're your own brake, and you're your own engine. Always give the story of the lion and the gazelle. The gazelle gets up every morning in the jungle, and it only runs if a lion is chasing it. Okay? But the lion gets up every morning, and he's running The lion doesn't have to get anybody to motivate him, but the gazelle does. So what are you, the lion or the gazelle? There's only two things you can control. Okay, you can't control whether you're going to get the business deal. You can't control whether you're going to get the loan. You can't whether you're going to get the investors. You can't control whether you're going to get the patent. You can't control any of that. But there's two things you can control each and every day of your life: your work ethic and your attitude. Okay, those are two things. Those are the only two things you can control. Okay, another thing. Each individual, the approximate number is, you have 50,000 choices every day. 50,000. What you're going to eat, what you're going to wear, if you're going to watch Friends, if you can watch Scandal, if you can watch the football game, if you're going to study or not, if you're going to sleep through class. You got 50,000 chances, 50,000 choices that you do or do not have to make. But there's two you have to. Accept things as they are, or take the courage to change them. Those two you have to make each and every day of your life. I tell people, I say, well, tomorrow. There's no tomorrow. All you got is today. Forget tomorrow. You got today. Instead of, okay, if plan A doesn't work, I'll go to plan B. Plan B? I got a plan A. I don't have a plan B. I'm going to make plan A work. Forget plan B. Because if you got a plan B, you're telling yourself it's not going to work anyway. Okay? You might have to pivot, like I said earlier, but you got a plan A. That's it. You make plan A work. Okay? You must believe in your ideal. I believe in my ideal. I'm willing to die for it. Because what I was doing before wasn't living. I have a great life. This is living. What I was doing before, I don't know what it was. Some weeks I work 100 hours. I was out of town 9 out of 11 weeks, working around the clock, lost weight, developed insomnia, but I was doing what I loved. So when you're doing what you love, it's not really work. And you can get paid handsomely for it. Know this, talent is God-given, fame is man-given, and conceit is self-given. So be careful which one of those you have. Always do like Steve Jobs says, live your life as if today was the last day of your life. Is that amazing? What are you not doing? What are you not accomplishing? What are you not achieving if this was the last day of your life? In closing, I'm going to ask you guys to repeat something after me, okay? Okay. And we're going to say this with a good UTA Maverick gusto, okay? Say, I can, I will, and I must. One more time. I can, I will, I must. I applaud your dreamers.